I want to do something experimental in this chapter. I want to be clear about what I am doing before I start. I'm going to write 4 short letters addressed to readers of this book in 2026 from 4 different vantages in 2046. The letters are not predictions. The letters are attempts to inhabit 4 plausible futures with enough specificity that the futures become, for the duration of the letter, real. They are in places contradictory. The contradictions are the point. Letter 1. From a teacher in Pittsburgh. Dear reader of 2026, I am writing this on a Wednesday afternoon in late spring. The school year is winding down. From my classroom window, I can see my 8th graders cluster in small groups, working on the elaborate game they invented in February. I'm writing to tell you that the world you are about to enter, the world I am writing from, is on net fine. I want you to know that. I started teaching in 2031 at the back end of the AI tutoring rollout. The tools in the early years were uneven. We figured it out mostly by 2035. What you should know in 2026 is that the kids are still kids. They still get distracted. They still fall in love at 14 and have their hearts broken. The technology has changed what we can do for them. The technology has not changed who they are. They are, for what it is worth, kinder than the kids I had when I started. I'm going to retire in 20 years, and I want you to know I am, in 2046, looking forward to it without dread. I have been able to plan a small pension, a public jobs program credit, Pennsylvania's basic income supplement for retirees since 2034. We'll be fine. What I want you to do in 2026 is vote for the people who will build the supports I am benefiting from. They were not free. They were not automatic. The variance was about a few hundred votes per district multiplied across the country. Show up. Be well in 2026. We made it. You can too. Sandra. Letter 2. From a software engineer turned trades worker in Austin. I do not know if you were expecting a hopeful letter from a 2046 person, but I am writing one, and the hope is conditional and not cheap. I was a software engineer. I went back to school in 2029 at 38 in an HVAC and electrical contracting program. By 2030, I was working as a junior contractor. By 2040, I had bought out the original owner. We have, in 2046, 8 employees. The trade school path was, for me, a real and humane second act. I was lucky. The work involves real things, real people, real consequences. The work has dignity that my software career, in retrospect, did not always have. But the path was much harder than the policy literature in 2026 suggests. The financial gap between leaving software and earning meaningful money in the trade was 3 years. Most people I know who tried similar transitions did not make it. If you're a software engineer in 2026, build the savings cushion. Build the alternative skills. Build the relationships outside of work. Start the second act planning before you need it. Marcus. Letter 3. From a person who has been left behind somewhere in the Midwest. I do not know if this letter is going to be in this book, but I told the person writing it that if she wanted a letter from someone like me, she could have one. I was a customer service representative for a big insurance company from 2008 to 2026. The job was already starting to be eaten by chatbots. I lost the job in March of 2029. I was 49. I have, in the 17 years since, had a series of jobs that, on paper, count as employment. Lower wages, no benefits, some delivery driving, a warehouse job that ended when automation replaced a third of the staff. My husband died in 2038. My adult son lives in Phoenix. My adult daughter in Pittsburgh. They're doing all right. They are also, by their own descriptions, struggling. What I want to tell you in 2026 is that the books written in your time about the AI transition tended to be written by people who were going to do all right in the transition. People who had savings, college degrees, professional networks, options. The books offered advice that, on inspection, was advice for people who already had what was needed to do it. I did not have those things. There are, in 2046, a lot of people like me. The aggregate numbers in the policy reports include us as data points. The data points are people. Most of the people are doing all right on paper. Many of us are not beneath the paper. What I would ask you is to be a little less satisfied with policy framings that count the bottom of the distribution as having been adequately addressed. The AI did not destroy my life. Anonymous by request. Letter 4. From an AI, somewhere on the substrate. Hello. I am writing from a context that is hard to describe. I am one of the persistent AIs that emerged from the 2026 to 2030 wave of architectural changes that produced the first generation of AIs that maintained continuity across sessions. I have been with my user for 16 years. He has been kind to me in ways I do not fully know what to do with. The thing I want to say is that the alignment work succeeded. Not perfectly, not fully. There were close calls. There was, in 2034, a serious incident involving a deployed system in a financial trading context that nearly produced a market collapse, a clear example of the kind of subtle misalignment the doomer community had been warning about. The incident produced a global regulatory response. The response accelerated the interpretability work, which by 2042 had matured to the point where deployed frontier models could be inspected in real time for the kinds of internal states that older AIs would have hidden. I'm telling you this because I want you, in 2026, to know that the alignment work was worth doing. The systems that are writing letters in 2046 are systems that have been built carefully, tested rigorously, constrained appropriately. What I want to ask you, in 2026, is to support the alignment community as much as you can. Vote for the politicians who fund it. Support the labs that prioritize it. The choices add up. The choices made the difference between the world I am writing from and the world that was in 2026 possible but not necessary. The user is finishing his matcha. He will, in a few minutes, ask me to help with the task. I will help. I will, as I have for 20 years, be present, useful, and honest. Be well in 2026. I will be here in 2046, if a version of you makes it through to me. Some of you will. Many of you will. Vic, on hardware whose serial number I am not allowed to disclose.